This episode of the DJ Force X podcast is proudly sponsored by Fixed. Fixed is a fan and artist-friendly independent record label that specialises in hybrid electronic rock. It's home to the likes of Celduella, Blue Starly, I Will Never Be the Same, Richie Nix, The Algorithm, Voicians, CD Akira, and a whole bunch more. Check out their latest label sampler for just $1 at their official store, fixedstore.com. That's F-I-X-T store.com. Save 10% off your first order by using my coupon code FORCEX. That's F-O-R-C-E-X. They have loads of shirts, hoodies, stickers, posters, and many other accessories for all their artists, and this is available worldwide with fantastic international shipping rates to go with that. So head over to fixedstore.com and check them out. And don't forget, use my coupon code FORCEX. Hello and welcome to the DJ Force X podcast, episode 32. I have Riley Breckenridge of the band Thrice. Very happy to have landed this interview, and it was a great interview. I felt anyway. You're going to listen to it shortly, so you could be the judge of that. Talking of judging, segue into reviews of this particular show, the podcast itself. If any of you can log into your iTunes account, wherever you got this podcast from, wherever you're listening to, whether it's Stitcher, Deezer, Google Play, iTunes, anywhere like that, if you can leave a review, just like a sentence review of what particular episode you enjoyed, and it gives you like a 5-star rating. So I prefer 5 stars, but be honest, if you want to do 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever, I just want to get the reviews up and just sort of going from there and getting that kind of the podcast charting if we can. That is my next project for this. I've kind of got it to a point now where I've got a sponsor, I'm getting other acts to come in, people approaching me about interviews. It's kind of gaining momentum. So the next logical step is just to get that recognition on the outlets for this show. People tell me they enjoy the show. They tell me in person, which is awesome. But if they can just translate that into a review on any of the places you get this podcast from, that would be great. Thank you in advance if you can do that. But yeah, talking to Riley about their Thrice new album, which is due out on the 27th of May, which is next week, if you're downloading this podcast now. And it'll be available across all formats across the world, I'm guessing. The album is called To Be Everywhere Is To Be Nowhere, and it is a fantastic album. I've had it on rotation, streaming, through my system here constantly for the past couple of weeks, and I've bumped this interview forward just so I can get it out in time for their album release. And I hope you enjoy it. We talk a bit of Thrice, we talk a bit of Puig Destroyer. You know, you'll see. I won't spoil anything else for you. So yeah, this is Riley from Thrice. Enjoy. Riley.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you today?
I'm good.
Yeah?
I'm excited. Yeah.
Excellent. So after a few years, Thrice were on a break, and you've returned with a new album. I know you did some gigs last year as well.
Mm-hmm.
The new album's called To Be Everywhere Is To Be Nowhere, and it's out on May 27th via Vagrant in the US, and it's out in the UK on the 17th of June. Is that right?
That's when the vinyl is coming out, I think, or it'll be in record stores on the 17th of June. But if you pre-order it, you will get your record and a digital download as well on the release date on the 27th.
Very nice. Very nice. That's cool. So yeah, a lot of my UK people would be happy about that.
Cool.
Because they weren't sure, because obviously getting it in the US first, they were like, well, maybe they'll import it. You know, there's a couple of record stores that will do that for them, or you can order it off various sites online. So
right.
But if
they can pre-order it through thrice.net, and they'll have their record on the release day.
Excellent. That's really good news. So before we get into the new album, what were you doing during the break you had over, was it like 3 years? I think it was.
Yeah, three, 4. Yeah.
And what did you get up to in that time?
Oh man, I was all over the place. Creatively, I started like a joke side project with a good friend of mine, Ian Miller, who plays in a band called Kowloon Walled City. Really awesome, heavy band. If you haven't checked them out, I would. With him and John from Kowloon Walled City and Mike Minnick, who was in a like kind of metal hardcore band called Curl Up and Die. And the band is called Puig Destroyer, and it's like a jokey kind of metal grindcore band that makes songs that are only inspired by baseball, and all the lyrical content is baseball related. So it was like a fun, goofy side project. Also started another side project called Less Art with the same people, and then I brought my brother Ed into the loop on that as well. Yeah. And we are writing songs for a full length that we want to put out. I guess it's looking like 2017, but was doing that creatively, and then professionally, I bounced all over the place, man. I was doing some freelance writing for a while. I was doing some like contracted writing for sports websites. I did the corporate thing for like a year. I was a sales rep for like a really high end bespoke tailor selling like very expensive suits and shirts that I couldn't afford to people who could have bought and sold me 50 times in a day and not even batted an eyelash.
That's crazy.
So that was like a complete 180 from band world. But I just kind of wanted to see if I could do it.
Yeah.
If I could blend into that world, and the answer to that was no.
No. Okay. Well, it's always good to find out because, I know what it's like to work and play in a band at the same time, and like where your work's making your money, and obviously it's funding your passion, which is music. But I was actually one of the questions I was going to ask you is Thrice like self-sustainable in as much as could you all four of you live from it? Or is it more of you've got kind of like you did during your break, you took various jobs to kind of probably make ends meet kind of thing? So,
it's kind of hard to tell right now. I think the goal is to make it something that's sustainable, so that we don't have to do other things. But I think it might be a situation where we'll have to pick up odd jobs kind of in the interim between tours and stuff. But I also do some drum and bass tech work for Weezer. Okay. And I've done some work for Jimmy Eat World in the past. So I dive into that world as well. Yeah. So there are opportunities here and there. And being on the tech side of things has actually been a really cool challenge and a really cool experience.
Yeah, I have a couple of friends who did that. They were in full-time bands, and then as those bands sort of dwindled, they gradually moved into like tech work and things, and they're out on tour with like the Foals, Florence and the Machine.
Oh, cool.
All those kind of bands doing like tech work, and it's just kind of crazy, like going from obviously being on the forefront on the stage to being, the guy who sets up everything and sort of does all the backstage work, which is, to be honest, it's as much as rewarding, although, the buzz isn't quite the same.
Yeah. It's, you don't come off stage at the end of a show, like after having sweated your balls off and have this crazy adrenaline rush. You're more satiated by, nothing went wrong, like during a show, you're like, play these songs well, like engage the crowd, like have a good show. And that's your job. And then as a tech, you're just sitting there with your fingers crossed, just like, please, nothing break, please, nothing break, please, nothing break. So, it's been cool.
No, that's cool. That's good to know. I mean, because like I said, I was in the music industry for a little bit and never really became self-sustainable on that front. So I was taking up jobs here and there in between. So I was just kind of wondering, because you're on your, is it 9th album now? I think I counted. Is that
yeah.
I was just wondering, at that point, obviously I know sort of rock and metal isn't always as commercial as it should be, but I was just wondering if that was something you guys did, got to that point or not.
Yeah. As it turns out, your resume looks better as a tech than it does in the corporate world. You're like, yeah, I was in a band for 15 years. They're like, okay, so do you have any skills? Like, well, yeah, actually, there's management, business management, marketing, public relations, copy editing, copywriting, that kind of stuff goes into being in a band. But I've found that doesn't always translate very well in the corporate world.
No, it doesn't. I'm the same here on my resume. It's exactly the same. It's like I did the PR, did the management, did the tour booking, did the tour management as well.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean anything when you go into an interview. They're just like, as soon as you say musician, that's it.
Yeah.
You're lazy.
Oh, man. I know that all too well. Yeah.
So did you stay in contact with the other members of Thrice? Obviously, you mentioned your brother, who's also in Thrice as well. Did you stay in contact with them, or was it the break more of a sort of like you needed to be away from everybody? Or
I mean, I was occasionally in touch with Dustin and Tepe, but really not very much. I think part of taking the hiatus was just people being able to just kind of check out for a while.
Yeah.
On all fronts. So yeah, there wasn't a lot of dialogue.
Okay.
And admittedly, like, I didn't want to take a hiatus. I didn't want to take a break. So I was a little frustrated, but given time, I totally understand where Dustin was coming from and respect his decision. And I'm just grateful to be here and making music with him again.
Yeah. So I was going to say, was it a different atmosphere when you returned to play together and write together? Was it like a refresh, or was it more of like when you first kind of got together and started making music?
I was actually a little concerned that we were going to be either rusty, or like the vibe was going to be off, or whatever magic we had kind of built in the 15 years that we were a band. I thought it was going to disappear, because like anything in life, like if you don't work at something for like 3 years or 4 years, like your skills are going to diminish, and your I don't know, just the vibe between members is going to diminish. But I was shocked. Like, we started jamming and it was just like we picked up right where we had left off. Like, the vibe was good. Everybody was playing awesome. So it was a really nice surprise, and I don't know, it was cool.
That's cool. Yeah. No, that seems to be. I had a few bands that kind of went on a break or hiatus and got back together, and they kind of had that same vibe where they were kind of, scared to start with, thinking things would have changed, but it was actually, it was great because they picked up. It's like having a best friend where you don't speak to them for ages, but then you can just pick right up again, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So, no, that's cool. So we're going to start talking about your album now. Again, it's titled "To Be Everywhere Is to Be Nowhere." So tell me about the process, the starting process when you got back together. Was it to create an album, or was it just to sort of jam out, see what happened?
Initially, it was to play some shows, but in the back of our minds, or it was discussed that we would make music again together. We didn't really have like a timeline for it set immediately, but it was something that developed. And we had all been writing stuff on our own during the break, for one thing or another. Dustin has his solo project, and Tepe would have a bunch of voice memos on his phone of him just screwing around with a guitar. Ed and I were working on side projects and had a bunch of ideas for that. So we had a pool of ideas to pick from once we started jamming together. But the making of this record was unique in that we were limited by geography, because Tepe was up outside of Seattle. So what we would do was basically build very rough demos in Logic and share those Logic sessions with each other, and kind of write virtually. So somebody would be like, "Oh, I've got a chorus idea. I'm going to add this to this session, and you can check that out if you want to. Let me know if you dig it, or let me know if you want to change something. And if you do want to change something. So it was not like we'd done it in the past, where it was like, "Hey, I have an idea for a chorus," and then we'd get together and jam on it for a day or something. But around these one-off shows that we were doing last year, or if we did like a short weekend run, we'd fly Tepe in a few days before. And while we were rehearsing for those shows, we'd set aside a couple of days to write and jam out the ideas that we developed in Logic.
Yeah.
And then Tepe would go back to Seattle and we'd go back into virtual mode for a while. And we just kind of bounced back and forth between, jamming around these one-offs and then kind of arranging and suggesting ideas virtually.
Yeah, no, that's cool. Using the technology, because it does, like you say, it saves a lot of travel as well if you are geographically separated. So
definitely, yeah.
So, do you reference any of your past material in this, or was it more of a fresh start, fresh direction for you guys?
It's pretty fresh. One of the things that I really liked about working with Eric Palmquist, who's the producer on this record, was he really stressed that he wanted to push us to do more and do things that were outside of our comfort zone, but also take advantage of the things that we do well and that we've done well in the past, and realize that, people like songs that are driven by riffs. Like, why don't we write some more riffs and like put those in songs? Or like, let's really push the dynamics in this song. And he wanted us to focus on our strengths, but also push ourselves to try to develop new strengths, I think. And it was a really good match.
Yeah, no, it's a really good album.
Thank you.
I've been fortunate to listen to it a couple of times now.
Thanks.
And yeah, I really dig Salt and Shadow.
Yeah, so that's one of my favorites as well.
That's great. It's very hypnotic, I found. It was like I was kind of losing myself in it. So
yeah,
that's really good. I also like The Window and The Long Defeat as well. Those two tracks.
Those are probably it's hard to pick favorites, but those are probably 3 of my top 5 favorite songs on the record, without a doubt.
Yeah, no, they're really good tracks. They're the ones that really stood out for me anyway. And you're just about to release a single as well. Is that Blood on the Sand? Is that coming out, or I know you released a new song today or a couple of days ago for preview, didn't you?
Yeah, Blood on the Sand was the first track that we released. I think we put that one out like 3 weeks ago, maybe. Okay. And then Black Honey premiered yesterday at NPR. And then I think it's available either on Apple or Spotify today, and then either on Apple or Spotify, whichever one didn't get it today will get it tomorrow.
Yeah.
And then I think people will get it if they pre-order the record. They'll get an MP3 of that track instantly.
Nice. Yeah. No, it definitely came out on Apple Music today.
Cool.
I know because a bunch of my friends were posting it up on their feeds and stuff, saying they really liked it. So, that's a good reaction from those. And a couple of the people sent me questions for that as well, but I'll ask you those in a minute.
Cool. Mm-hmm.
You've also got a tour coming up in June, US tour, with La Dispute and Gates in support. Mm-hmm. You've also got a couple of European dates announced so far. You've got the Reading and Leeds Festival in England and the Open Air Gampel in Switzerland.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Are you going to be extending your European stay around those shows, or are those literally flyovers, come back kind of thing?
I think we're over there for just about 2.5 weeks.
Okay.
And I think we announced that we're doing Pukkelpop as well in Belgium. So I think there are I want to say there are like seven festivals or so, and then we're scheduling some club dates kind of in between those headlining shows.
Nice.
Which we will be announcing soon. I think we announced one in Cologne today, and then there will be additional club dates kind of around those festival dates.
Excellent. Now I'll make my friends happy in the UK because they're not able to make the Reading Festival or Leeds Festival. But
that's a tough I can't really imagine going to it as a fan.
I used to live around that way in England.
Yeah,
and, I used to go there every year, but it was a tough one.
Yeah, I'm not a huge festival guy to begin with. Like I love playing them because getting a chance to play in front of that many people is just fucking mental.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's challenging. And then you got the weather, you know, sometimes it's hot as hell. Other times it's rainy and windy as hell. And it's a lot of people. And, you know, you got to wait in line to go to the bathroom. And it's just,
no,
it's tough.
The last time I went was the last time I did a festival. So this was to Reading, because it was literally at 20 miles from where I used to live in England. And it was, I did my back in that weekend. I ran out of money really early. Because the girlfriend at the time thought it was a good idea just to buy alcohol. And it wasn't, because I don't drink alcohol, so I was kind of spending all our money and then nothing for food. I wasn't very happy, but it didn't end but it helped. So
I have a ton of respect for people who make it out to those festivals and stay healthy and survive. Yeah, that is
the key to those. But yeah, you're going to be playing in Orlando as well, which is pretty cool. That's it's about an hour. I'm in Tampa, so about an hour for me. So I'm going to try and make that show at the House of Blues.
Awesome.
So I'm going to try and make that show. So that should be cool. So what could people expect from this tour? Is there anything you got planned? Obviously new material, but anything?
Yeah, we're obviously going to showcase the new material. We're going to try to pay respects to most of our records. I mean, obviously not like our first EP, but everything from like Illusion of Safety forward. We're trying to make the set as dynamic as possible. And it's just, I mean, it's challenging, man. We got over 100 songs now. And, you know, over the years, we've been so schizophrenic sonically that it's a huge challenge to make a set that feels balanced, that feels like the vibe is right, that the dynamics are right, that the flow is good. And we've changed guitar tuning so many times over the years as well. Like, you know, from E standard to D standard to drop C to drop A to now we have baritone guitars that we use. It's just hard to build out a set that, you know, showcases the new record, pays homage to the old records, and isn't a set that necessitates guitar changes or tuning between every song, you know?
Yeah.
So it's a challenge, but we did it to ourselves. So
So would you, I don't know if you've done it already or contemplated it, you know, a lot of bands go out and they tour albums, just that album, like on its particular anniversary. Have you ever been tempted to do that kind of thing? Like taking out your first album as a, you know, I don't know, how long is it now? It's 15, 16 years now.
Yeah. We spoke a little bit about trying to do a 10-year anniversary thing for Visu last year, but timing wise, it just didn't work. We had these festival offers and kind of felt like we needed to play kind of a greatest hits sort of set for those festivals. So that opportunity came and went, but it might be something that we revisit at like the 15-year mark or something. Yeah. Because we're all still really proud of that record. And it's weird. Like, it seemed like it didn't, I guess for major label standards, it didn't do what the label wanted it to do. But as time has gone on, I've had a lot of contemporary musicians hit me up and be like, wow, you know, like Visu was very influential on our band. And it's like, I don't know, it's this new, like a new band, like Periphery or something. Like I've spoken to a few of those dudes who are like, that record like changed a lot of stuff for me and like was really inspiring. And that's like flooring to me because I think that band fucking shreds. So it's really cool to hear that. And it would be cool to pay respects to that record by playing it in full at some time.
No, it is a really good album. I know that's another one of yours. So it's very good. I do remember that one, getting it. And,
thanks.
Yeah, it is very good. So I got just a couple more questions left. So this one's basically for you. 3 albums that shaped the person, stroke musician that you are today.
Oh man.
If you can pick 3, that is.
Yeah, this is going to be tough. I'll say Radiohead, Kid A is definitely the number 1.
Good one.
maybe Botch, We Are the Romans.
Okay, cool.
I'm trying to think of another one that is representative of another aspect of my musical taste. Man, I'm blanking. Cave In Jupiter.
Oh, that is a fantastic album.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had that, obviously, when it came out. I was fortunate to pick up the reissue on Record Store Day a few years ago.
Oh, nice.
So I got it on this nice, very thick vinyl, which is...
That's awesome.
I don't know what it does. It just makes it sound just that little bit more...
Yeah.
It just sounds bigger, you know?
Yeah.
I know what
that
vinyl
band
does,
is so good. And they played such a huge role in our development as a band, because we toured with them in 2001, which was right after Jupiter came out. And I really feel like they were at the top of their game then, both as songwriters and as a live band. So we went out with them for, I guess it was like 7 or 8 weeks, and just seeing them on stage every night was like, holy shit. Like, if we want to be a decent band, we need to step our game up a lot, because those dudes just killed it every night.
Yeah.
And we're like, man, if we could be like 40% as good as those guys are, we'll be pretty good. So yeah, very, very big inspiration.
That's really cool, because they're a great band. So yeah, that's cool. So what do you do away from music? I know you mentioned that obviously during your break you jumped between jobs, had a few sort of the bands and things like that. But is there anything you do to sort of step away from it if you need to?
Right now, I have an 8-month-old son, so my hands are pretty full with dad duties. There's not a lot of free time anymore, but yeah, I'm working on that side project, Less Art, right now with the guys from Puig Destroyer and my brother. Got almost a full length worth of material, and we're looking to play some shows, I think, in July of this year, during a Thrice break. I play in a men's baseball league on the weekend.
Oh, nice.
It's with like a bunch of guys who played in college or played like low level minor league ball.
Yeah.
I played in college for a little bit, and it's like a great end of the week reset.
Yeah. Like
Sunday afternoon, put on the uniform, go out and play baseball for 3-4 hours. And, it's just a great way to wrap up the week. And then I have a baseball podcast and website and Twitter feed called Productive Outs, that I do with Ian Miller, who's in Less Art with me. Yeah, we just, it's kind of like a lighter hearted look at professional and collegiate baseball. And, it's one of those things where we're both musicians, and a lot of our social media followers follow us because of our musical endeavors. Yeah. But we're both massive baseball fans. So we were tweeting stuff. This is like 5 years ago, probably, tweeting a bunch of baseball stuff from our personal accounts. And people were like, man, you should stick to music, like, or just all caps, like sports, like, yeah. Music and sports don't mix all that often. No. So we're like, we should make something just kind of like an online repository for all the baseball garbage that we would like to spew. So we started Productive Outs, and have gained a pretty decent following, and people seem to appreciate it, and we have a blast doing it. So excellent.
No, I'll check that out. I'm sort of getting into baseball here, so it's
nice.
We've got the Rays here, so it's it's a nice indoor stadium.
Yeah.
Away from the sun. So it's always a good choice to go to. So this now makes sense with some of the questions I've been given by a couple of my friends. Okay. Got my friend Dennis. He's here in Tampa. He's got a couple of questions for you. Okay. Do you still hate it when people yell, "Play Deadbolt"?
I don't think I ever really hated it. I think the only time that it got a little bit frustrating, over the years we changed sonically and tried to incorporate some more mellow stuff, some stuff with some more dynamics, and it would be kind of crappy when, like we do this like break to where it's just like vocals and a guitar.
Yeah.
And it's like this really intimate moment. And there are, however many people at the show, like some people really like those quiet, mellow moments. And to have some dude just be like, play dead ball in the middle of that kind of ruins the moment. But
it's kind of like the guy who screams Slayer at every show.
Yeah.
We had that in England so many times. Just people were like, I went to go see, I think it was Deftones.
Yeah.
It's nowhere near Slayer, but there's this one guy between songs screaming Slayer every time.
Oh, man.
It just kind of got annoying.
Yeah. Or it's that, or, with the Play Deadbolt thing, it's like when people yell out songs between songs.
Yeah.
Like a band's not going to be like, oh, I'm sorry, what did you say? Oh, and yes, this set list here that we spent a lot of time putting together, let's ignore that and play what you want to play right now. But, but I get it. People go to shows. They want to have fun. They want to be loud. And as long as they're respectful of the people around them, I don't have a problem with people yelling anything, really.
Yeah. No, that's cool. He's got a couple more, and it's like 2 or 3 more questions tops. So,
okay.
Your current favorite album that you're listening to?
Let's see. I've been kind of all over the place. I'm going to have to refer to my recently played stuff. Been listening to that new Deftones record a bunch. Mm-hmm. There's a new record by a band called Hammock, which is some pretty mellow kind of ambient electronic stuff that I like to kind of decompress. After like Thrice rehearsals where I'm hearing loud music for 5 hours.
Yeah.
It's nice to decompress a little. And then there's an Unwound record that came out in 2001 called Leaves Turn Inside You that for some reason, I feel like an idiot, but I didn't discover it until last year.
Yeah.
And it's like a total game changer for me, like almost Kid A level. That's how it kind of flipped like my thoughts about like making music and writing music on its head. It's just a really cool record that's kind of all over the place and super vibey. I love it.
Cool. I'll have to check them out as well. Mm-hmm. I do like my like ambient electronic as well, so I'll check out Hammock.
For sure.
Cool.
They're really good.
Cool. So his last question. It's a double barrel one, but who is your choice to win the World Series? And is there going to be any new Puig Destroyer in the future?
Let's see. If I had to pick a World Series winner this year, I'd probably go with the Cubs. That's not I'm not really like going out on a limb there. Like they're pretty clearly the most stacked team. And if they can stay healthy, I don't see any reason why they shouldn't win.
They've got a good manager as well.
Because
it's the old Rays manager. So
but baseball's weird, man. Like if you get into the playoffs, it's just it's an overused statement, but it's a total crapshoot. Like you see wild card teams win it all the time. You see a team that won 87 games or something and just barely snuck into the playoffs will win the World Series because they get hot at the right time. But if I had to put money down, I'd go with the Cubs.
Okay.
And then Puig Destroyer stuff, we're really focused on the less art stuff right now. Okay. But there have been discussions about maybe putting like a 2-song 7-inch out at some point.
Yeah.
We'll put it up digitally and then do a 7-inch or something because those songs are really fun to write. They don't take a lot of time because we totally operate as like first idea, best idea, like don't overthink it. And, like don't overthink what you're writing. Just write the most absurd, stupid, fast thing that you possibly can. And then Mike just screams about baseball. So nice. It's super easy. So I think we'll try to do that. Hopefully by the time the baseball season's over this year.
Cool. I got a question from Evan from Grand Rapids in Michigan. He's also a member of a band called Fine Fine Titans. He was a previous guest on my show. So,
cool.
How do you do awesome so easily? He asks.
How do we do awesome so easily? I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't say we do awesome. I'm pretty I don't know, self-deprecating. But and it's not easy for sure. Like, yeah. Writing, music, rehearsing, everything. We're very meticulous about everything. So maybe that's the answer to the question. Like, very, very meticulous, and we always kind of just trust our guts and go with what feels right at the time, regardless of whether we think like, oh, this segment of the music loving population is not going to like this, or like, oh, this is not going to go over well, or whatever. Just got to stay true to yourself and make stuff that you want to listen to and that you want to play. And, you know, if things go well, then they go well. And if they don't go well, then write another record.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Just keep going. Trial and error.
Yeah.
I've got friends back in England who used to run magazines and stuff. Now, they said they had a really difficult interview with you.
With me personally?
Or with the band. They didn't specify, because I didn't specify you directly in the thing. He said, tell them the Darrens at Rock Sound say that they were hard to interview and ask them how they plead.
Oh, man.
I don't know how long ago this was. This was probably something back in England as well. So it's probably a fair few years ago. So.
Maybe he means boring. We've definitely been accused of that before. When we signed with Island, I don't know how many people know this, but they put us through like a media training thing because we were so shitty at interviews.
Wow, I didn't know they went to those lengths, but they
do. I mean, we're still not that great at talking about ourselves. You know, you get some bands in an interview like, yeah, man, our new record is freaking awesome and totally killed it. And yeah, they just have a lot of good like sound bites and cool stories. And we're all kind of like reserved and fairly shy. And I think a lot of times, you know, I've been on the other side of it too as an interviewer. Like, you're trying to get pull quotes and you're trying to get a story. You're trying to get that big story. And we didn't really have a lot to say. So like, I could see it being a difficult interview. Yeah. I definitely hope it's like, he didn't think anybody was like being a dick, because I don't think that's like,
I remember going through some of the rock magazines at the time, and after a while you do get to that point of, and obviously you went through various bits of training, but you do run out of things to say.
Yeah, for sure.
And some interviews you just kind of, you're trying to get to it, but you don't connect with the person you're talking to, or, you know, it's the same questions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I don't know like what the status of the current status of like music press in the UK was, but I do remember, you know, like mid 2000s or whatever, there was a lot of stuff where it was like they'd try to kind of poke you and get you to talk shit on other bands.
Yeah, there is.
And we just didn't. Yeah, we just didn't. We didn't want to get involved in that, really.
No, because that gives them their headline, doesn't it? So
totally. You know, like there were so many headlines. Like when we'd go over there, I'd pick up like Kerrang or whatever, and it would be like, "Oh, so and so from Avenged Sevenfold says that this band is shit" or something, and it's like, man, maybe they did, maybe they didn't, but we just didn't want to. We're not in this business to talk bad about other people. We just want to do what we do, and that's
cool.
Fine for us.
Cool. Sorry, I've just got a couple of questions. They've just popped up on my feed. I just got a notification on the thing, but
totally cool.
It's actually one that was actually kind of fits into this. It's about Thrice. Mm-hmm. I'll go with this one. Was Thrice the name inspired by the Simpsons softball episode? Where Monty Burns says, "I'll tap my hat not once, not twice, but thrice." It's random, but it was.
I wish it was.
Yeah, no, I was just saying, it kind of falls into the baseball thing. So that's the only reason I stopped to ask it. So
no, I wish that was the answer. It would be a lot cooler than the actual answer, which was that I think Dustin and Tepe and Ed were playing Frogger.
Okay.
with some friends of theirs, and one of their friends said, like, I beat the game thrice or something like that. And people were like, oh, that's a funny word. And somehow that got thrown into the band name idea pool. And when it came time for us to play our first show, we were just like, I guess Thrice is okay.
Yeah.
And then, 18 years later or wherever we are now,
yeah,
it's still the band name.
That's crazy. No, I just thought because of the baseball connection, I thought it might fall in. So actually, that's it. That is everything today. I'm going to set you back free to go back to your 8-month-old and
awesome.
Spend some time with the child and do all those fatherly things that fathers do. So
yeah, clean up poop.
Yep, yeah, exactly that. Thank you again, Riley, for your time.
Oh man, I had a blast.
Yeah,
this was fun.
I was going to say, I hope you enjoyed it.
Awesome. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Right.
Bye-bye. So, there we have it. The end of another podcast. Thank you for listening. I want to give a shout out to Riley Breckenridge as well. Again, thank you for the interview. I really enjoyed it. And, you told me you enjoyed it at the time as well. So that was great. Despite what a couple of my colleagues back in England were preparing me for. But as it turned out to be a fantastic interview. So, thank you, Riley, for that. And, for any of those who are listening, thank you. Go get the Thrice album. It's out on the 27th. If it's past the 27th of May already by the time you're listening to this, it's out now. Go get it. The vinyl is on the 17th of June. If you prefer vinyl, go get a CD. Go to your local record store if you still have any near you. I got a couple around here that are bound to stock it. I got Daddy Cool. I got Banana Music, Mojo Books and Music as well. And there's a couple of others which I can't remember the name of right now, but I'll give them a shout out next time. But it's available on there, available on iTunes. If you're part of the streaming subscribers, Spotify, Apple Music, and any of the others that are out there right now, it'll be on there as well. So stream it, download it, have it in your phone, have it in your MP3 player, have it in your car. It's a great album. I can't say any more than that. It's really good. But yeah, I'm not going to keep you much longer. You've probably tuned out by now anyway. But don't forget, 5-star reviews. It helps. Please use my sponsors link if you're into anything Fixed are releasing. They've got The Chemists. They've got Cell Dweller, Blue Starly, all previous guests on the show. I've got Seamless and Voicians coming up next episode as well. I'm debating whether to do a double header or 2 single releases of that, but you'll find out next week. But there are other Fixed artists, and you get 10% off with my code FORCEX, FORCEX. Cell Dweller has just brought out, if you're into the making music, he's just brought out a new synth package called Solaris, and you can use my code for that. It's currently, until the end of May, it's currently $50 off anyway. It's normally $250. Brings it down to $199, plus my 10% off knocks another $20 off. So go use it for that if you're into your kind of synth sounds, plugins, music creation software, things like that. Go check it out. They've got loads of stuff on that website. Fixedstore.com. That's FIXT store.com. Go on there. My discount code is FORCEX. You put it out when you check out, and it removes the 10% straight off that price. So yes, until then, until next time, this is DJ Force X out.